This idea of communism being a rainbow, whatever. There's nothing rainbow about communism. There's nothing rainbow about it. Matter of fact, I'm not against the LGBT movement, but I hate that fucking rainbow flag. Can I say that? Can I say that the rainbow is like this MKUltra psychological engineering scary type of shit that is just this extremely liquidationist aesthetic? I mean, it is totally antithetical to communism on a basic aesthetic level. And people might say aesthetics are not important. I think they are important, okay? Because it's this idea of universalistic, indeterminate difference. It's everything all at once. Everything all at once. What's the quintessential psychosis of American liberalism and American globalist unipolarity? So you have to understand that, when fascism comes to this country, it's going to be draped in a rainbow flag. Okay? It's going to be draped in the same universalistic flag of indeterminate differences. It's going to be the sun wheel with a goddamn rainbow flag, and it's going to say, this is the ultimate culmination of Aryan spiritual development, total universal achievement of transcendence, and only the enlightened. Let me tell you another thing. White means all colors, right? White reflects all colors. Okay, so when you see the rainbow flag, I mean, that's a white. That means white. Okay, that means a white flag. Okay, that's inherently what it means. Okay, so you got to understand what's going on here. And yeah, it's also hideous and very ugly. And I'm allowed to have that opinion. But anyway, thank you, Bothgang.
Bright colors in cartoons is a MKUltra op to get kids to like bad substances.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, there's a lot of weird shit. A lot of weird shit with regard to MKUltra and the like. Because what I'm trying to say, here's why I think the rainbow aesthetic is MKUltra. And I'm going to actually break it down to you in the most coherent way that I can. So, when you're dealing with this US government approach to mind control, or manipulating the senses, or like this type of cybernetic control over the human psyche, you're dealing with like this really crude breakdown of phenomenal reality, like the reality that's perceptible to the senses.
Watch an anime called Gurren Lagann. It's a Marxist anime about historical materialism and triumph over Malthusianism.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that. But yeah, it's basically like this this turning of the human psyche into an object of abstract engineering, right? And the first way to how do I fucking put this? The first way to abstract our senses or the phenomenal world from us in terms of vision is like the what is it called? The visible spectrum, right? So in a really nihilistic way, the rainbow flag has always kind of been disturbing to me, because it's like this abstract breakdown of the visible spectrum itself, meaning the essence of everything we see in reality. So when you see a painting at a museum and it looks super beautiful and whatever, oh, actually all of that is just underlying all of that is just the visible spectrum. So this way in which the US kind of cybernetic paradigm of reducing the whole world to these mechanized abstractions, it's just this kind of, it's almost like we can be so fundamentally manipulated in every possible way. You can't tell what's real from what's artificial anymore, right? Does this make sense, or does it sound schizo, right? You guys get what I'm saying? It's this breaking down of what's real from what's artificial. Am I seeing this painting? Am I seeing anything real in there when I'm seeing some beautiful thing? Or is this just a coincidental organization of the visible spectrum of light in a certain way, accidentally, which can be broken down scientifically and biologically and psychologically, whatever, in this like brutally surgical scientific way, right? So that's what I'm talking about here, right? Now, I'm going to talk about MKUltra and the LGBT movement only for one reason. Okay? It seems like even before I said a goddamn thing about LGBT movement, even before I said a goddamn thing about it, right? Even before I said anything critical about that movement, it seems like the most active vanguard, people who are willing to, for free, fight the info war against me and to destroy the anti-imperialist message, were somehow people brainwashed into thinking that if they didn't oppose me, they could not sustain or protect their sexual identity. So they attached their sexual identity with loyalty to the imperialist state. If that's not a form of MKUltra, I don't fucking know what is. Somehow, the American state has gotten people to attach their very sexuality with loyalty to the agenda of imperialism. That's pretty fucking scary. And if you think that's just a coincidence, I think you're naive. I think there's a reason why that is. That is, you know, you look into the history of MKUltra and the shit that they've gotten these free and willing soldiers of the imperialist state who have attached their own sexuality. I repeat, they've attached their own sexuality to the imperialist state, meaning they are going to go so, like, put it this way. It's almost like, you know, if you're an honorable person, you're a man, for example, you're going to be like, this is my very manhood is on the line. I have to defend this, right? It's kind of like that for them. Their very sexual truth is on the line. If they don't oppose Haas and attack Haas, they'll be whatever. So they've been brainwashed in some kind of way to become the slaves of the imperialist deep state's agenda, and it is absolutely fucking horrific. It's a horror story, right? But these are the most. I mean, you look at the people who are in my replies, and you look at the people who are the most fanatical about opposing me. It just kind of seems like there's a common denominator, you know. And that's not a bigoted thing to say, because I'm saying they've somehow been brainwashed into thinking. Even before, look, everything I'm saying is defensive. I never used to really have these views when I first started out with infrared. I kind of more had the view that, you know, it's kind of an index of progress to be for the LGBT movement to make strides. That was kind of my view before. And then when I started to realize that the LGBT movement was starting to attack me for being pro-China and defending Russia and being a quote-unquote tanky, I started to realize, I was like, maybe my attitude toward the LGBT movement should change, because clearly it's more than just people being free to express themselves in some kind of way. It seems like there's a lot more to it than that.